evening and welcome to this edition of the Newsleader on 6. Today is Tuesday, January 2nd, 2018. I'm Jim Fuller.
And I'm Andrew Todd. In tonight's news, we'll get an update on Tullahoma's lawsuit with the county over distribution of liquor tax revenue. Former Nashville Mayor Carl Dean visited the city recently. We'll speak with Lance Baxter about the hypervelocity program at AEDC. And changes to the state law will prohibit you from using certain colors of lights on your vehicle. We'll have all these stories and more on tonight's Newsleader on 6.
The final days of 2017 means the biggest savings of the year at all Russell Barnett dealerships. Shop in person or online now. Hundreds of GMs, Chryslers, Fords, and Kias are clearance priced, some thousands below MSRP. Don't buy any vehicle anywhere until you get Russell Barnett's price. And through January 2nd, all trades will be given maximum trade allowance.
8 new car brands, hundreds to choose from, all at 2017 discounted prices. And my question is, why buy anywhere else?
When your family suffers the loss of a loved one, the caring and compassionate staff at Tullahoma Funeral Home and Coffee County Funeral Chapel are standing by to assist you in every way possible. We are proud to support local industry and offer only Batesville caskets. Many funeral homes don't own or operate a crematory. We utilize the only crematory in Coffee County. Your loved one never leaves Coffee County. We can accommodate any need and any budget. Consider our complete pre-need service to remove this burden from your family during their time of grief. Lock in today's low costs and protect from inflation. Tullahoma Funeral Home and Coffee County Funeral Chapel. Our family caring for your family.
Welcome back. Tonight we try to catch up on some stories we were unable to do because of all the Christmas festivities in December. Let's watch now as the Boy Scouts lead the Pledge of Allegiance at the Tullahoma City Board of Mayor and Alderman meeting.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Dr. Blank. Thank you, Scott. Dr. Blank. While the Scouts are here, let me ask each of you to step to the podium. Let me have the Scouts' attention for just a minute. I want each of you to step to the podium and give your name and maybe where you go to school and your grade, please.
And I go to school at Robert E. Lee.
Very good, thank you. Welcome.
My name is Matthew Bond. I go to school at Robert E. Lee, and I'm in 5th grade.
Very good, welcome.
My name is Drew Banks. I go to school at Robert E. Lee, and I'm in 5th grade.
My name is Robert Brooks. I go to school at Robert E. Lee, and I'm in 5th grade.
Welcome.
My name is Jackson Banks, and I go to school at East Middle, and I'm in 7th grade.
My name is Evan Kane, and I go to Robert E. Lee in 4th grade.
Very good.
My name is Zachary Briggs, and I go to Robert E. Lee. I forgot his grade. My name is Colin McCauley. I go to Robert E. Lee. I'm in 4th grade.
Very good. What a good group. Okay, thank you all very much for a job well done. Appreciate you.
Tullahoma High School senior Ann Fulton was December's honorary alderman.
Okay, you see we've got a new person with us this evening. Miss Anna Fulton has joined us. Welcome, Miss Fulton. She is a senior at Tullahoma High School. She is president of the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. She's sergeant of arms at the Tullahoma Key Club. And she's a member of the Mayor's Youth Council, and she is an AP student. So she, on her classes, this is pretty impressive, she's taken AP Literature, AP Psychology, and Spanish 3 honors. Tough classes, tough classes. So Anna, welcome. Tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Like you said, I'm a senior at Tullahoma High School. I'm in Key Club and the Mayor's Youth City Council, all those things that he said. I work at the movie theater. That's fun sometimes. And then I have an older sister and a younger brother. And I'm accepted into the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga, and I plan to go there in the fall of 2018 and major in Spanish and minor in business. So I'm excited for that.
I think that's a unique combination, but I like that. I mean, I think that'll serve you well. Yeah. So welcome. We're glad you're here. If you would stand there at your desk, we've got a certificate recognizing you as the honorary alderman.
Steve Worsham updated the board on the progress of a lawsuit with the County Board of Education over the distribution of liquor tax revenues.
In the Court of Appeals last Tuesday, we argued the case of Coffee County Board of Education versus the City of Tullahoma, which is one of the two cases pending in which we're involved regarding the distribution of liquor tax revenues generated from liquor by the drink sales in Tullahoma. The judges took that matter in advisement. We probably won't know what the outcome is until next January, which is of course next month now. We've been successful in the trial court, so we had the upper hand going into that court, and several other trial courts have ruled in favor of the position that the city is taking in that matter, so we hope that we'll be successful in that. We won't know, we'll report to you as soon as we do. We have not heard from Senator Bowling regarding our correspondence with her in relationship to asking her to introduce legislation in the Senate relative changing the election dates so that they will coincide with elections of general elections so that we can save the funds for the extra cost of having elections on off years. But I'm sure that this time of year she's very busy trying to wind things up, and I'm sure that we will hear from her soon. We have now recorded the deed to the first installment of the two installments from the Markham family for the new city police station that's going to be built on the lot just west of here. We will get the other one early January, being divided into 2 years for income tax purposes for the donors. So we're very excited about that. We reviewed the contract for architectural services with Mr. Balls, and it's ready to go as soon as we have the other deed recorded. We don't want to execute that until we have deed in hand. I understand from Ms. Golden that our efforts in relationship to collecting property taxes have been successful to this extent that the revenues are up. As you know, we are endeavoring to embark upon a program of eventually selling property that against which delinquent taxes are owed if they're not paid. And we're hoping that a lot of people will pay them and we won't have to go to an actual tax sale. We're working with planning and code on several matters. There are a number of things pending that we're working on through the court system. Mr. Giffen from our firm is handling most of those once we get to the litigation stage. And we'll keep you informed about those as they arise. We also, Mr. Giffen did appear for the city in federal court in Chattanooga last Wednesday, I believe, in a case involving the city and a defendant who has been convicted of drug violations. Our police department, under the leadership of Chief Blackwell, participated in the investigation and apprehension and arrest and conviction of the property owner, defendant who owns property here, and we're entitled not only to recover our property taxes, there were delinquent taxes owed on that property, but also once the title of that property has been determined by the court, some of the expenses which we incurred in being involved in that investigation and in that pursuit.
We'll be right back with more Newsleader on 6.
It's football time in Tennessee, and nobody tackles the competition like the Russell Barnett Automotive family. With 6 different locations, 8 new car franchises, over 1,000 new and pre-owned vehicles to choose from, a certified collision center with lifetime paint guarantee, Russell Barnett Hometown Auto Rental. Let our family exceed your expectations at the Russell Barnett Automotive family. And remember, why buy anywhere else?
Here at Manchester Funeral Home, we know the importance of living and working in our local community because it's those families who we serve during their time of need honorably. We believe in supporting local business and offer only 100% Batesville caskets, the best in the industry and a driver of our local economy. If you want straightforward and fair pricing while working with the people you know, choose Manchester Funeral Home, serving your community since 1932. And pre-planning and pre-funding can be the best gift you ever leave your loved ones. Call us to pre-arrange. Manchester Funeral Home. Our family, caring for your family since 1932.
Welcome back. Former Nashville Mayor and current gubernatorial candidate Carl Dean held a town hall meeting at City Hall in Tullahoma recently. Tonight we bring you part 1 of that meeting.
As all of you know, I have invited all of the gubernatorial candidates to Tullahoma, and hopefully we'll hear from all of them. We've heard from most of them actually so far. They're looking forward to visiting in Tullahoma. So I think it's very important that cities and counties are subdivisions of the state. And so it's very, very important that we have an excellent relationship with the governor, whoever he or she is. So I thought it was important to invite them here. We're going to give Mr. Dean an opportunity to speak to the group. I want each of you, if you choose to be prepared to ask a question or make a comment. You know, this is not a rally. This is not a partisan kind of thing. This is an opportunity to know each of the gubernatorial candidates.
I've been to Tullahoma more than a few times. My son, who's 30 now, played baseball, so we'd come down here a lot for tournaments, but it's good to be back. So what I thought I'd do is just tell you a little bit about myself, why I'm running, and what I think the big issues are in the campaign. So my name's Carl Dean, and my background is this. I came to Vanderbilt Law School in 1978 to go to law school. And the big thing that happened to me in law school was I met a woman. And Ann Davis was in my law school class, a whole lot smarter than me, and she was a Nashville native. And so after a couple of years of discussing where we live when we got married, we live in Nashville, and it's the best thing that could have ever happened to me. After getting out of law school in '81, shortly thereafter, I joined the Public Defender's Office in Nashville. I worked as an assistant public defender from up to 1990, and in 1990 I ran for the job and was reelected twice, 90, 94, and 98. And that job was, to me, it was a fascinating job. I got to learn a lot about trial techniques. I wanted to give people the best representation I could, do my job the best I could. I also got a pretty good understanding of poverty issues in our community, and also understood the importance of education. My clients, probably 95%, were high school dropouts. My juvenile clients were leaving school 13, 14 years old, and nothing good was coming from that. And so that really underscored the importance of education to me. It also gave me a sense of the importance of dealing with alcohol, drug issues, and mental health issues. So there's reoccurring things that I witnessed. In 1999, Bill Purcell was elected mayor of Nashville. Bill and I had been assistant public defenders together in the 80s. He likes to say we met in jail, but he became mayor, and he asked me to leave my job as the elected public defender and become the city's director of law, become the lawyer for the city, and run the law department and manage the city's legal affairs. And so I did that, and that was a fascinating job. You're certainly in the hidden side, whatever's going on in the city. You run a department of about 35 lawyers. And then in 2007, when Mayor Purcell's time as mayor was coming to an end, I sort of thought that I had some ideas, things I wanted to do for the city, and decided I would get into the race to run for mayor. I got into the race. I was the last serious candidate to get in. There were about 5 other candidates. My earliest memory in that race is a poll came out like in February or March, and the election's in August. And the poll was done by the city paper. I don't know if you remember, it was a free handout paper that we had in Nashville. And they did this poll that was an unscientific sort of online poll where you could just vote as many times as you want. And so the results came out, and I was last. And I was not only last, I was at like 5%. And so my memory of that event was I came downstairs one day to go out to campaign with that good news in my mind to where I stood in the polls. And my wife was there having breakfast with our then 14-year-old middle child. And she heard us talking about the poll. And the more we talked about it, my daughter got more and more anxious, and her face got more and more concerned. And she finally got up and she came over to me and said, Dad, there's still time for you to get out. You can drop out. But I hung in there, and I was elected mayor in September of '07. And I had 2 very different terms. If you think back to the first term, '07 to '11, the major thing that happened was the economic downturn, the Great Recession, the worst downturn since the Depression. And obviously that really affected what we could do and what we had to do. I mean, I knew that we couldn't go to the voters, to the people, the taxpayers of Nashville and ask for additional revenue, that we had to balance our books, and we couldn't unbalance the books of families and businesses that were working hard to balance our books, and so we had to make cuts. And we made cuts. We made cuts 15, 20% in most departments. But we didn't cut education. We didn't cut public safety. I was committed to having a fully staffed police department and adding officers there. And we didn't stop working hard on economic development. And then on top of the flood, as you all will remember, in 2010, we had the Great Flood, where we lost 11 citizens. We had about $2 billion in damaged private property, hundreds of millions of public property. And it was a real hit for the city, but the story of the flood will always be the efforts of people to help each other to get the city back up on its feet. We had people helping their neighbors, people helping strangers, 24,000 volunteers working to get the city up, and it made a difference, but it was an economic hit. But all during that time, we worked on education, we worked on public safety, and that's when we built the convention center. That's when we started being real aggressive about economic development. And so by the end of my first term, the economy really started taking off. We came out of the recession earlier. The New York, we had the TV show Nashville came, got called the It City, the cranes started arriving, and the boom began, which continues to today.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
It's not invoice. It's not MSRP. It's not Christmas Day, although it may feel like it. It's the lowest prices in Middle Tennessee, period. Get to Stan McNabb Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram or Stan McNabb Chevrolet Buick GMC Cadillac before these prices are gone forever.
All right, the cat's out of the bag at Carroll Street Liquor in Tullahoma. Now you know where to go if you're planning a get-together and want the ideal wine or spirit. Party planning can be stressful, but at Carroll Street Liquor you'll find everything you need. Mixers, gift sets, and all of your favorite spirit brands. So if you're feeling the pressure to pull off the ideal party, come to Carroll Street Liquor and select among the seemingly endless supply of wines, spirits, gift sets, and more. Your perfect party, it's in the bag with Carroll Street Liquors.
Welcome back. Tom Corrington spoke with Lance Baxter, who heads up the new hypervelocity program at Arnold Engineering Development Complex.
Our subject today is deals with the hypersonic development program going on across the Department of Defense. And this is hypersonics is a very hot subject these days. This is actually our third show on the subject. And today, we want to talk about the project that's been announced and is underway to do a major transformation of the J5 test facility at Arnold to do hypersonic propulsion tests. We're talking today with Lance Baxter, who is the director of a hypersonic test force at AEDC, and we want to talk particularly about the new program they have going to transform the J5 test facility into the hypersonic business. So, Lance, first of all, I know DOD, broad-wise, is spending billions of dollars and there's very high interest in hypersonics. So, first of all, remind everybody what hypersonic is, and then how this fits into the overall project.
Absolutely. So hypersonic refers to generally things that are traveling at speeds higher than Mach 5. For those who have been around for a little while, supersonic flight was first encountered back in the 1960s as we started to exceed broke the sound barrier, right? Chuck Yeager and company in the X-1. And so at that point, speed of sound is about 700 miles per hour, and so each Mach number is an increment of that, right? So Mach 5 would be about 5 times the speed of sound, or about 3,500 miles per hour. Which is about fast enough to get from here to Atlanta, or from Nashville to Atlanta, about 4 minutes.
Okay, but then you're going to take your test facility up to Mach 7, I think, and so it'll take 2 minutes to get to Atlanta. Huh? Okay. Well, as I say, give us a little overview of the overall hypersonic DoD program.
So hypersonics has been identified by the Air Force as one of what they describe as game-changing technologies. These are technologies that have the potential to impact how we as a nation can conduct military operations in a manner that's similar to the impact that the development of stealth technology had on our aircraft.
Okay, but we're talking about design. You've got a major project, I would think, in designing and developing the hardware that is going to fly it at Mach 5 or 6 or 7.
Absolutely. So there's a number of demonstration programs currently being operated by the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, DARPA. To demonstrate that we can indeed put together technologies and vehicles that can travel at these speeds over the ranges that we have identified that we might need to use them as
Do you have any feel
weapons.
for how far they are in developing the hardware itself?
So they are to the point that they're conducting some test flights on some of these DARPA demonstrations. There have been some recent test flights, and some of these test flights even go back as far as the X-51 vehicle that was actually built here in Tullahoma.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, let's talk about your facility itself. We're basically talking about developing a hypersonic propulsion test facility, test and evaluation, if you will. And so that takes J5 from whatever it can do now up to the Mach 5 or 6 or 7 category. And tell us what kind of propulsion systems are you expecting? When are you going to get one? When are you going to put one into the test?
That's a great question. So the class of propulsion systems that this is designed to test are the supersonic combusting ramjets. And so this is a class of engine that actually the fuel and air is being burned in a flow that's still traveling at a speed that's higher than the speed of sound. If you think about the faster air is moving, the harder it is to keep a flame lit. It's like blowing on a match, right? Except in this case, we're blowing on a match with an air source that's going, faster than 700 miles an hour. So keeping that match lit is a real challenge. So those scramjet propulsion systems require the airflow into them to be representative of the airflow that they would see when they're actually in flight in order to operate. And so we're going to have to present that engine with an airflow that looks to it like it's traveling at these Mach 6 speeds.
Yeah. More Newsleader on 6 is coming up in a moment.
I have 30 seconds to tell you about RussellBarnett.com. We're going to find over 1,000 new and pre-owned vehicles, RussellBarnett.com. We're going to get your trade appraised, RussellBarnett.com. We're going to get financing done, RussellBarnett.com. We're going to get collision repair assistance, RussellBarnett.com. We're going to get auto rental assistance, RussellBarnett.com. We are the one-stop shop, one click away. Why click anywhere else?
The spirit of the season is timeless. From our family to yours, happy holidays.
Welcome back. Several new laws went into effect on January 1st. One of those laws restricts the colors of lights you may have on your vehicle. Tullahoma Police Chief Paul Blackwell tells us more.
January 1st, we're going to see a new law go into effect, and that has to do with vehicles and other lighting on their vehicle. You see vehicles going around town that have maybe the blue lights or the red lights or green lights or some other color on the front of their vehicle, and that's going to be prohibited come January 1st. You can't have any other color other than white or amber on the front of your vehicle.
Right.
So these people that have the blue accent lights around their headlights or green or red or whatever, they're going to have to remove those because they'll be prohibited.
Yeah.
And yeah,
It won't make some of you happy.
It won't make some people happy, but the legislature saw a need to write it. And I know when a lot of those started becoming popular, people would ask, well, how can they have a blue light on the front of their car? How can they have a red light? And so the legislature
I guess that is a little bit confusing.
Yeah, the legislature has defined it more so.
Right.
So you can't have a steady burning light, nor can you have a flashing light.
Okay, so you see a lot of private vehicles. I'm thinking maybe not really private, but like the phone company or something like that, and they have flashing yellow lights. Is that still permitted?
That's amber.
Amber. Okay.
Yeah, there's exceptions to everything.
Right.
And the exception is service vehicles, emergency vehicles,
right,
things of that nature. And the law stipulates when you can use them, when you can't use them.
I see.
And green lights are actually for security companies.
Oh, I see.
So,
I didn't know that.
There's a lot of color codes that go with different occupations.
Right. And don't forget to tune into this week's Living Show tonight at 6:30 p.m., Thursday morning at 9 a.m., and Thursday, Friday, and Saturday evening at 6:30 p.m. This week's guests include Greg Gressel, who will stop by to fill us in on changes to this year's South Jackson Gala, and Coffee County Mayor Gary Cordell will drop in to discuss the county's direction for the new year. All that and more on this week's Living.
And stay with us. We'll have your weather forecast right after these messages.
Russell's got your truck, man. Russell's got your truck. Chevy, Ford, and Ram, man. Russell's got your truck. With the best selection anywhere. Russell's got your truck.
Keith Barnett here at the Russell Barnett Automotive family, and man, do we ever have your truck. 4 brands, hundreds to choose from, all at year-end discounted prices. So with so much to choose from, my question is, why buy your next truck anywhere else?
Russell's got your truck, man.
We're losing it, Doctor.
Not on my shift. Quickly, brush. Roller.
What a transformation. It's gonna be okay.
Okay, nothing.
At Paintworks of Tullahoma, we specialize in domestic emergencies with Martin Senior Paints. You can be the paint doctor too when you treat your home with Martin Senior interior and exterior finishes.
Doctor, we've got another one.
Got you covered.
Paintworks of Tullahoma. Come see the paint doctor, Stat.
Welcome back. We'll take a look at your weather forecast at this time, starting with your weather history on this day. Our record high was in 2005 at 73 degrees. The record low was in 1928 at -2 degrees. The average high on this day is 49 and the average low is 30. Mostly cloudy weather expected tonight with a low of around 11 degrees. Mostly cloudy weather continues in your forecast for Wednesday with a high of 34 and a low of 13, and partly cloudy weather expected on Thursday with a high of 27 and a low of 11. And that's our newsletter report for this evening. We invite you to join us each Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday at 6, 8, and 10 for Newsleader on 6. You have a good evening.
Have a great evening.